past Belmont, but that's just me. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. Let's go back to our phone lines and talk to Lloyd of Sergeant Tannis. What's going on, Lloyd?
How's it going, guys?
Yeah, I'm all right. What's going on?
I just wanted to talk about...
No, I'm not going to play Overwatch with you, Lloyd.
Fine, Colo. Fuck off then. So the reason why I left the game, for multiple reasons, a lot of them were in real life reasons. Friends were assholes, stole a lot of shit from me in the game. Main reason is just the gameplay got stale at like 2.55 for me. Like I did everything all the way up into Binding Coil, all by myself, pugged it out since my group of people were all casual pieces of shit, to be perfectly honest.
So you didn't even play through Heaven's Ward?
I played the first little bit of Heaven's Ward and I saw the formula. It was the same shit over and over again, just you're level 60 now. That's it.
Wow, and yet you still listen to our show? That's dedication.
I love you guys. Yeah.
Aww.
You guys are like the best radio show, like the only radio show.
Oh, you're such a groupie.
Thanks, Lloyd. Appreciate it.
But I just don't... Like with the glamour system, I saw little bits and pieces of what they were going to do with it, like the reward systems. Like we weren't going to get real rewards anymore. It was just my little pretty princess dress up. Like what the hell is going on with this game? They're taking all the conventional things from MMOs and turning them on their head for casual people, but they're also taking the veteran things and destroying them and making them casual. And
Pretty Princess was a solid board game. Damn it.
Oh my god, Nika, stop.
It was.
And I'm kind of nervous, so I'm sorry if I'm talking kind of...
So what has to change then for you to even consider coming back? Because I assume Eureka hasn't even piqued your interest then, right?
It's piqued a little bit of my interest, but it's not worth the money to come back and then level my character from like 54 all the way up to 70 to actually do the content.
All right.
That's going to be a slog. And I don't have the time for it anymore. And I've already seen the content through your guys' streams and other people's streams. And the story's not compelling enough, like 11 was, to actually bring me in to do it myself.
So if it went free to play, would you come back?
Probably.
If it became like $5 a month,
that's still like a that's
a solid meal right there.
Pretty much. It's still a lot of money to ask for something that, like, all of the amenities that you really want, you already have to pay extra for. Like,
right. So you think that if it stays with the same formula, it's not even worth $5 a month?
Oh God, no.
Okay. See, and that's the one thing that I kind of wanted to point out about my experience with ESO is that this was a game that I had forgot was installed on my hard drive. And it was like I went to go play a game of PUBG and I accidentally hit the scroll wheel instead of clicking the play button. And it went up and I was like, oh shit, I forgot I had some of these games.
And you're like, oh well.
Wait, why is Elder Scrolls Online installed? I think it was installed from the MMO tour that I intended to do.
Probably, yeah.
And I was like, well, I'll see what's going on in Elder Scrolls Online. And again, the only reason that I was able to do that and just kind of on a whim kind of click in and go in is because it was free, because there's no monthly sub, because it could stay installed and updated, on my PC. It took 30 seconds to update.
Oh my God.
I have not updated that game in a long fucking time. A long time.
You kind of got me wanting to check out ESO now. At
least since January. And there was an entire expansion that needed to be installed. And 5 minutes later, I was playing. There are definite advantages to having your game be free to access. Or, at least not come with a monthly fee attached to it. And as more shit moves to the cash shop, it makes me wonder why any of us are paying monthly for this game. And then that doesn't even get into the $5 a month premium digital fucking phone app. That is the most insane thing that I've ever heard of. So, I mean, like, you know, if you wanted to take quote unquote full advantage of all of FF14's features, you're close to paying $50 a month. And who would want to pay that for a game that delivers on content consistently so poorly as FF14? And I'm not saying that the dungeons that they add are bad. I'm saying that they're carbon copies of the formula that have come before it, to Lloyd's point.
Well, even you know, talking about that idea, you know, Yoshi P has recently said that, you know, he looks at Eureka and some new content that's coming up as experimental content. So even if it ends up being good,
why are you waiting till your third fucking expansion to start experimenting with goddamn content?
The idea that I'm paying for something that to them is experimental when I could go into WoW and get a 16 boss raid that is the final, like this is it. Here's everything. It's polished. It's 16 bosses. And yet I'm in FF14 playing experimental Eureka.
The only thing that I will kind of give FF14 and their cash shop is, first of all, there's really not a good way to access it while you're in the game, so it doesn't feel quite as streamlined or hocked in there as other games do it. But the other thing is that, you know, you could play through the entirety of Final Fantasy XIV never knowing that there was a cash shop and never miss out on a single thing. And I think that actually does need to be commended, that, you know, you've kind of got to find it or be directed there externally to get there. They're not, you know, they're not making it the most easy process in the world.
Don't give them too much credit, because up until a few weeks ago, they didn't have a shopping cart in their store. So I think that is less a moral choice that they made and more that they're still trying to figure out how to do that.
Not saying that it was a moral choice. I'm just saying that it doesn't rub me quite as wrong as the way that other games do in-game purchases.
I mean, when he first got the cash shop, he billed it as a moral choice. He said he never wanted to pay to win in the cash shop.
That's right. It didn't start with that.
He did state that from the beginning, and
you're right.
He has held true on that statement.
Someone's listening to this show from Square Enix, and they're going to run to Yoshi P and like, Yoshi, what if we put an NPC that when you click on them, it actually opens up a browser to the cash shop? And he's gonna be like, that is an amazing idea. In a year, we're gonna have that in the game.
Usually it's just a menu option, but whatever. But you know, like I do think that, you know, there's definitely some things that Square Enix can do to come out to, you know, really bring people back or you know, re-interest some people in what's going on. So Lloyd, with you being at 54 where you last left off in FF14, and assuming that the next expansion is going to increase the cap to 70, let's assume that they're not going to be taking away the monthly subscription price. What content outline do they need to come out with to make you say, oh shit, like that actually might be worth playing?
Well, for one, they need to just drop the whole slash and burn style of developing. Like, their content needs to last longer than 3 fucking months, period. And it's sad that, like, and I think that's what really caused me to quit the game, is I saw from just leaving from a month, because I used to be an avid player almost every day, that I didn't miss a damn thing in that entire month. And then I waited until the patch, and then I did the patch in 2 days and was done with it. And it's like, I can quit playing now. So when I go to an MMO, I'm there to waste time, basically. I want them to bring me in to do something. Like 11 did that. I spent way too much time on that game, and it brought me in because it had something I wanted, not something that it was going to give me in 3 months, basically. If I just waited and paid the money for it, basically. The other thing would be to make rewards, not something to dress up with. Like, dungeons shouldn't have swimsuits. They shouldn't have things like that. It should have items that actually pertain, like, well, not pertain, but actually have stats that progress you through the game instead of just stupid shit to kind of bide you on until you get to the tomes.
Yeah, the only dungeon gear worth getting is the ones originally as you're leveling through the story, because those ones help you for the next dungeon, the next dungeon, the next dungeon. And once you get to 70, the dungeon gear is just too low a level to matter ever.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make sense to me, because like there should be like in 11 there were certain gears that you had to get at certain levels or you did not progress very well. Like your fucking scorpion harness, you either made it or you fucking bought it, like you needed it at that level, or you weren't decent at your job. Like those little caveats, like something to attain so you can progress through the game better, and it hasn't happened.
No, I agree. I don't think it has happened at all. And I think that's one of the big points of frustration, especially for us as a show and as, you know, people who have to come out and talk about FF14 for 2 hours every week.
Fans of the Final Fantasy MMO experience.
Yeah, absolutely. It gets exhausting. And it kind of sucks that, you know, because I think a lot of FF14 players have more attachment to the Final Fantasy brand than they do to Eorzea as a world to adventure in.
And what I've seen, and sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
Don't you apologize on our fucking show, you pleb.
Oh, fuck you, Kahlo.
Thank you.
What I was gonna add was, fuck, now I lost my point, Kahlo.
Oh, you fucking idiot.
You dildo. Way to go. But you know, FF14 you know, I don't think does enough to really naturally interest the player in what's going on in the world in a, you know, organic way, because again, and this is one of the biggest problems that I've had with FF14 narratively, is that it doesn't, it always centers everything that's happening in the world around you, right? Like there's if something happens in the world, you don't just come across it. You're pointed to it in a narrative capacity, right? Like
exactly.
There's not just some random tragedy that you come across and you're like, oh shit, what is this? It's someone in a town has a flag over their head and now they've directed you to a place, and now there's the thing that you go see at the place, or there's the person that you kill at the place, and then you move the fuck on. Compare that to ESO. I'm just walking around, I see two wizards dueling, and they have fucking voiced dialogue against one another, and I just come in and I start killing both of them for no reason. And I just felt like it was this little moment that I had stumbled on, and I was just like, oh shit, like what's going on here?
So you want Square Enix to give you more opportunities to be a psychopath?
No,
but like NPCs randomly changing and doing different things would just make it feel like, you know, like that joke always back from FF11, those like Proof Rock and Finsternis videos where they're like, you know, you need to find the auction house, you find the Mithra, and you turn left. Like that's always stuck with me. It's like, yeah, because that Mithra is always fucking standing there.
Well,
she doesn't do anything.
You want to know what's sad about that too is the idea of things that just randomly happen out in the world. That is essentially the concept of Fates, but Square Enix and Yoshi P has taken that concept and diluted it down to like its
and they've compartmentalized
barest, rawest form that we look at it now and we just vomit.
And
I mean, there's a couple fates. If you read the subtext, and actually the ones with NPCs, if you read their speech bubbles, some of them are very, very cool. Especially that one big achievement fate in the As in Step, where it's like a 10 or 13 step fate when you're following the tribe and doing the thing. Like that is really fucking cool lore wise. And I just wish that we could just stumble upon that stuff in the world and not be pointed to it like, hey, here's a big glowing purple bubble. There's a thing here.
Yeah.
And like, and if you miss it, you miss it. But if you find it, it's like those little things. And like all the NPCs should be doing that. It's daytime, it's nighttime. Sometimes they're in different places, not usually. Like there's certain characters, like there's a couple NPCs in Ishgard I know that like you can catch talking at certain times. Same thing with the gold saucer. They're kind of moving, they'll say different things. But like it would be cool if there was events that would happen like extremely rarely or extremely commonly and just like scattered throughout the world. So it felt like, not just the gold saucer was alive, but the whole fucking world was alive.
Right. Well,
you don't feel that because I can walk into here and tell you that NPC is going to be there and that NPC is going to be there and that one's going to be there. Well, and that's their life. They don't have a life outside of when I talk to them. That is their life.
And it's not like Square Enix has never done this before. Remember the cafe that they had made in Mordona where you would randomly see Godbert and other characters?
And that's still there.
Yeah, no, it's still there. And but I mean, like, it's little stuff like that really kind of adds to the world. But I mean, again, making it feel larger than just the one player character or just the Warrior of Light, like, I think that is a really critical aspect to narrative. And I've got to wonder if Square Enix somewhere along the way has lost the ability to figure out what the story is that they want to tell.
I think that go ahead, Lloyd.
The main the thing that he made me forget was it's a nostalgia grab, basically, at this point. All of the events, all of the things that we get to do are all past things that we did in other Final Fantasy games, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's all There's referential to old games. Yeah.
It's all referencing something like Final Fantasy VI was Stormblood's raid bullshit, Omega, right?
Mm-hmm.
Heaven's Ward referenced Final Fantasy IV.
That very well, 6. Lloyd, could have been the reason that everything's starting to fall apart. Is you look back at A Realm Reborn and that was all just big original story. There might have been what I would refer to as Easter eggs instead of nostalgia grabs sprinkled here and there. But once you get to a point where you're like, oh, let's make this raid from Ivalice and we'll do this raid from FF5 and then we can do it from FF6 and we should put Doma from the other one in there. Once you start having to shoehorn in all these different things, I think that you start to I guess depending on the skill and creativity of your writers, you start to sort of pigeonhole them into stuff and kind of hamstring them, and I think maybe they start to lose some of the control on there. I don't know, because I feel like that's the only right now correlation that I can see between the degradation of the story and the use of so much nostalgia grabs.
I don't mind things like Crystal Tower, Doma, and Ivalice simply because they are 14's lore. They are not.
Well, they did it in a way. Planted. Correct.
Right. I mean, Omega bothers me because Omega is literally carbon copy of FF5 bosses and FF6 bosses, and that
there's no lore there.
There's no point. They're literally just like other FFs exist as legends in time somewhere, and they are existing now here, and that is the biggest nostalgia grab. And I mean, as much as we say we know we're going to get Sephiroth in the next one, and I feel like it's just a hawk of Patui, and I don't want to see that anymore. But like when they I mean, Ivalice had a little bit of that with like making these characters happen to look just like random, whatever. But like the fact that Ivalice is canon to not only Ivalice lore but 14's lore. Doma is just similar in name only. The Crystal Tower has Cloud of Darkness at the end, but otherwise, and like the bosses along the way, but it's not the same Crystal Tower. It's actually embedded in Allegan history and all that. Like that to me is a good way to do it.
Yeah, but I feel like the core of the Final Fantasy development team would take the elements around Final Fantasy games and mix them up between each iteration of the game better than what they're able to do now, right? Like, again, it's something surrounding the narrative that Square Enix has really fallen off the map on, and I don't know what it is. Like, I honestly feel like there was a big shift at some point in the company, and on the other side of it, Square Enix has really struggled to come up with a way of telling a meaningful, deep story on the level that they used to. Because even in FF11, the story felt big and meaningful and filled with depth, and it got more complex over time. And even there, I would go through really long tracks of time between plot points because I was very bad at that game, and it would take me 6 months to get between COP 2-3 and 5-2 or whatever the fuck, and I'd have to be piecing all of this shit together over time, and still that made a bigger impact than what FF14's narrative is able to do. So it makes me fundamentally question whether or not Square Enix has the ability to tell good stories in video games anymore.
I think part of it has to do with the fact that the main content was tied into the storyline too. Like going into the level synced areas in COP, or going into, you had to do that for the story. And then there was also things that branched off of it that you could go into, like the higher tier battles. At the end, it unlocks, C or whatever. Like there were so many things that forced it to be like connected. Whereas again, at 14 is so compartmentalized. You just do the MSQ. It's completely solo. You do the MSQ, and then the MSQ is done, and all of the content is 100% separated from the storyline.
Yeah, remember, Anika, you mentioned, I think, with the monk quest, that there are stuff in there that should have tied into Alamigo.
So mad about that.
And they didn't.
Every time a post comes up like this on Facebook, I have to write a page about it because I'm just so pissed because Estinian got this in Heavensward. They tied in the Azure Dragoon thing, and he became this character. Like in the quest line from 60 to 70, Vidergelt reestablishes the Fist of Ralgr. He is a driving force of reconstructing Alamigo. He is important. The Fists of Ralgr are an important organization. And then you go to fight Lakshmi, where there's a representative from every organization in the entire region, and he is not there.
No.
And that, to me, I feel like by this time, it has been 2 patches later, we can assume that everybody's level 70 because you have to be 70 to get those quests. So I just feel like, why can't we assume that every level 70 quest has happened at this point and just stick him in there?
I was going to say,
he should be there.
Because better yet, the reason that quests like that work so well is if you went through Heavensward and you had never done the Dragoon quest, that's fine. Everything still made sense to you.
Yeah.
And then if you happen to do the Dragoon quest, it's just added bonus stuff. You're like, oh, that's so cool.
And they call you the Azure Dragoon. They kind of reference that you've done it. But as soon as they announced at the FanFest that Stormblood was the monk expansion, I was like, yes, Vidergelt gets his time to shine. This is going to be awesome. We're going to get so much monk history. He's going to be a driving force. And then, you get the level 70 quest, and he's like, yes, he's doing this. And then he's gone. He's not part of the story at all.
Lise is the monk.
Yeah.
But why can't they should be working together?
But she saved Alamigo.
But who cares? Fuck that. It does. It's a huge oversight. I mean, that is
really is.
Decibel says I'm agreeing with Nika. I feel like I need a bath now.
You're welcome.
I mean, you're 100% right that, the opportunity that they had with Vidergelt to make him on the level of Estinian without.
Instead, they just bring Estinian back and throw him here and there.
Exactly. That was the biggest slap in the face.
He's
oh
doing
my god.
Whatever the fuck Estinian does, give us a new character. Vidergelt should have been the Estinian of this expansion. I will forever be salty that he's not, and that's why I've dropped Monk, and now I've got Samurai. Now you know what's going to happen is that fucking what's his face Samurai. I'm so mad right now. I can't even remember the fucking name. What's the fucking Samurai guy?
The big guy, Gosetsu.
Gosetsu, thank you. They're going to do something stupid with him too, and I'm going to drop Samurai like a hat too. I don't know. I'm just so mad that they don't tie in the characters the way that they should, and this is dumb.
Well, I think I think at least for Vidergelt, the opportunity that they had there was to do some of the same interesting character development that they did with Estinian, and not necessarily roll him in with the center of what's going on. You could have a much more dynamic view of the conflict that's happening in and for Alamigo through Vidergelt.
Has a tie to the royalty that used to exist. He is the nephew of the Mad King, and I feel like there should be some kind of Vidergelt doesn't want to be the king of Alamigo or whatever, but there should be some kind of
neither did Jon Snow.
Something, he's basically Jon Snow, but there should be something there that acknowledges hey, this guy exists, he's doing this really cool thing, he doesn't want to be the king, but he is part of this royal bloodline. His new established Fist of Ralgr should be an important part of our newly formed nation.
Can I be honest? Can I be honest? I feel like Koji Fox is on sabbatical or something.
We've heard nothing about
all of these plot holes to me really scream of someone who's kind of taken over a job and is reading a general outline of a plot that has to execute it. That might know it, but doesn't know.
Too far off from the truth.
That doesn't know the strict intricacies around, exactly how it's supposed to play out or connect with one another. Because that seems like a huge oversight. And we haven't heard anything from Koji Fox in a while.
They replaced him with some new animal guy name, didn't they? Sam, like Salmon or something?
I thought it was like Sam Crow or something.
Yeah, there you go. Sam Crow. That sounds right.
Or John Crow or something.
Jon Snow?
What are you doing?
Someone said the joke that I remember from the chat room was like, nothing, John Crow, and I thought it was kind of funny.
The last name was definitely Crow. I do remember that.
Yeah, it's Crow. It is Crow for sure. But where? Do we need to put out an APB for Koji Fox?
Missing persons report.
Yeah.
Someone put his name on or Photoshop his picture instead of a milk carton, and we'll tweet it around. I'm
starting to become concerned, and it's not because he's not, out and doing press for Square Enix, but just the slide in the ability to tell the narrative.
Where did the fox go?
Stop it. Stop it. Thanks for the call. We appreciate it. Lloyd, I'm sure we'll hear from you again soon, although apparently not if you're not going to be playing FF14.
He's always around. He's one of our biggest groupies.
I know he is.
He sucks our dick so hard.
Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715. LimitBreakRadio.com/Discord. If there are any more callers, we're going to get them a chance to sound off on the